Mac Games and Comics. Check them out on Facebook and visit their site at merrymacgames.com.
What's up YouTube, Evan from Epic Duel Time here, doing another video for you guys in our segment, Know the Rule Before You Duel. A lot of you guys have been giving some great suggestions for videos. I wish I could keep up with them as quickly as they come in, but I'm trying to get to as many of them as possible. I try to get to the ones that are a little more general. If you suggest just like a little like tiny quick ruling, I might answer it in the comments. I might just leave it. It depends on what it is. But some of the bigger concepts I try to tackle in videos because it allows more people access to them. This next one is something that players struggle with, but I'll admit, once you get it, you generally hold on to this one. It's not one that is consistently difficult to understand. You just have to be able to get past the not knowing what it is in the first place. And this is one of those bridging the gap between being, a beginner player to becoming, an intermediate player in terms of game knowledge. So it's special summons and being able to break them down into the two categories of inherent and effects. Inherent special summons are basically, in a nutshell, the idea that a monster summons itself and does not start a chain of any kind. An effect would be something that summons a monster. It activates to summon a monster. The best way I used to always refer to these is inherent is it summons itself, and effects are an effect activates to summon that monster. And it could be its own effect, so that's possible as well. And I'm going to be able to break down all of that information for you guys across the next few minutes. So let's break down what an inherent special summon is. Inherent, for people who don't know what that word means, inherent just means as itself, built in. It is what it is. There's not really a better way of being able to describe what it is. It's just, it exists as itself. And that's about it. It's just face value what it is. So that is exactly what it is. It summons itself. A summon through an inherent special summon is just that. It summons itself. It's not an effect. It doesn't activate. It doesn't start a chain. But it's a condition. It's seen as a summoning condition. The means by which you summon this monster. And I'll get into that shortly as well. And what applies? So fusion monsters apply. Anytime you fuse a monster, it's an inherent special summon. Synchros apply. Anytime you synchro summon, it's an inherent special summon. Keep in mind that does not mean that cards like polymerization or like formula synchron's effect to synchro, those aren't necessarily, those are effects to start. They allow you to do things, but they are not itself, the fusion summon or the synchro summon. Next, Ixies. If you Ixie summon a monster, it is seen as an inherent special summon. And some effect monsters, and not all, but some effect monsters are inherent special summons. Cyber Dragon's one of them. So let's talk about why Cyber Dragon is an inherent special summon and not an effect. Let's read his card text. This is his most updated card text from Battle Pack 2. If your opponent controls a monster, and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Now, what we see here is we see a condition being set before the comma. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters. So long as that condition applies of my opponent controls a monster and I control 0 monsters, I can special summon it. At any given point on my turn, when I can summon, providing that I can summon this, I can special summon it. It's a condition. At no point does my not having monsters and my opponent having a monster activate Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon doesn't activate. It just says summon it when you don't, and you can summon it. So it's seen as a condition. That's part of what Cyber Dragon's summoning ability is. It's just an ability, a condition. It's built into Cyber Dragon. He doesn't activate. So we're going to talk about other monsters that inherently special summon. Like Pulsar Dragon. He has a cost of being able to banish a light and a dark from the graveyard to be able to special summon himself. But why does that, why is that an inherent special summon? Because skill is just a condition. Costs can also be part of conditions. You do pay your cost, but it's not activating at any point. Number 39, Utopia's summon is an inherent special summon. You're taking 2 monsters, you're overlaying for them, they are level 4s, and you're creating a rank 4 Xyz monster. That rank 4 Xyz, it's not activating, you didn't activate 2 cards to summon it. It inherently, as part of the game mechanic, is an inherent special summon. And we already mentioned why Cyber Dragon is that way as well. So how do you stop an inherent special summon? Any of these cards would do the trick. Solemn Warning, when a monster would be summoned. Thunder King Ryo. During either player's turn, when your opponent would special summon a monster, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard, negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy it. And Black Horn of Heaven. When your opponent would special summon a monster, negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy it. So these cards specifically stop inherent special summons. Mostly the last 2. Solemn Warning works on something else in a bit, and I'll explain it. But Thunder King and Black Horn only stop inherent special summons. They do not stop effects that special summon. But let's talk about those effects to special summon. They start a chain. They activate. Generally, somewhere on the card, before they activate, you will see a colon or a semicolon. And that'll tell you when you're activating. That'll be your sign that this is activating. And they are an effect to summon itself or another monster. Remember that an effect to special summon is not unique to monsters. It could be a spell or a trap as well. And let's talk about effects that special summon. Monster effects, spells, and traps. All can special summon, and they are effects that special summon. So let's talk about why that is. Let's look at Battle Fader. Battle Fader is an effect that special summons. When an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, and then we see a semicolon, you can special summon this card from your hand, then end the battle phase. So what we're doing is we're seeing, this is a trigger effect. So we're seeing a monster activating when something happens, an action happens, and then it's going to activate, and then it's going to follow up with special summoning itself. So something like Black Horn of Heaven would not work on this. Even though it summons itself, it's activating. And so it's starting a chain. Next thing we're going to see is Redox, Dragon Ruler of Boulders. And what we're going to read here is we have quite a few effects. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 earth and or dragon type monsters from your hand and or graveyard, comma, except this card. And then we see a semicolon, special summon this card. So we have our condition, our cost, and our activation. So to use this, you have to banish a total of 2 earth and or dragon type monsters from your hand or graveyard that isn't redox, and then you can special summon them. And so that's when he activates. So monster effects to special summon. We have the monster on the left, Kageto Kage. We're going to talk about him in a little while. Redox and Gores. Gores also is a monster effect to special summon, as well as Tragoedia. So, card effects that special summon. Not just monster card effects, but card effects. We see Monster Reborn over here. Target a monster in other player's graveyard, special summon it. That starts a chain. Call of the Haunted as well. And the Grand Spellbook Tower has a secondary effect wherein it's destroyed, you can special summon a spellcaster type monster. So we see a field spell, a continuous trap, and a regular spell, a normal spell, all able to special summon. So let's talk about card effects that special summon within a chain, namely Kageto Kage, and using it in a chain. A lot of people have questions about this certain interaction, Red Gadget, or any of the gadgets, and Kageto Kage, and do they get their effects to something, miss timing, anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our field as we always do, and I'm going to say that I have Red Gadget and Kageto Kage in my hand. Kage, for people who don't know, is if I summon a level 4 or a level 4 or lower monster, or maybe it's a level 4 monster, I don't know, I can special summon it. And it activates. So, first thing I'm going to do is normal summon my red gadget. And from here, we already have something going on. I can activate my red gadget, and I can activate my Kage because Kage says when a monster is summoned. So, I want to activate both, and I want to do that. So, I'm going to go ahead and, because they are both optional effects, I can pick how they're going to line up. So, it's not like one of them is mandatory that it would have to be on the chain link one. I can pick which one's going to go first. So I'm going to go take my red gadget first. So I'm going to activate my red gadget so I can get a yellow gadget for my deck. And then I'm going to that chain my Kage on the same chain. It is just a regular normal level 4 monster. Can't be a level 4 or lower. So I'm going to activate Kage. And then when we resolve, I'm going to summon my Kage in defense mode. Now, understand that Kage's summon cannot be responded to right now. Generally, a summon response window opens up after a monster is summoned. Actually, you can't respond to his summon. So let's say you wanted to, I don't know. Let's say you had a card that would destroy him, or you wanted to chain Compulse right now. For some reason, you'd want to chain Compulse. I don't know. You can't because we're still in the middle of resolving chain. So he's actually kind of safe for right this second. Until Red Gadget resolves. So actually you can't do anything to Kage or Red Gadget during the chain. Because remember, you can never interrupt a chain. So I'm going to resolve my Red Gadget and get my Yellow Gadget, and this reopens up, ends the chain and opens up the summon response window. Once again. But you're going to see here that I responded to the summon of Red Gadget with effects. And so that's where you're going to see summons and chains that will summon coming into play. So stopping effects to special summon. Once again, I'm listing Solemn Warning, and I'll explain why in a bit. But we're going to see Divine Wrath. This is for monster effects, the special summon. And Dark Bribe for spells and traps. Granted, Divine Wrath works on any monster effect, and Dark Bribe works on any spell or trap. But it's just important to know that these also work on cards that special summon as well. And that things like Thunder King and Blackhorn do not. So let's talk about Solemn Warning. I want to talk about its text. When a monster would be summoned, or when a spell card, trap card, or monster effect is activated that includes an effect that special summons a monster or monsters, pay 2,000 life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. This covers both types. It stops an inherent and an effect that would special summon. And the first line, when a monster would be summoned, that's the inherent line. When a monster would be inherently summoned. So that covers normal, that covers flip, that covers an inherent special summon, any kind of summon right there. Or when a spell card, trap card, or monster effect is activated that includes an effect that special summons. That's covering all the bases on any type of effect that can special summon. But how is that different from Solemn Judgment? Solemn Judgment only stops inherent special summons, any type of normal summon, or a spell or trap card. Now, it does not stop an effect that would special summon. It just stops the immediate activation of the card in the first place. So you have to be careful how you would use that. Obviously the card's forbidden right now, but if it were to ever come back, understand that that card does behave very differently from Solemn Warning's effect to negate summons. So let's just do a quick rundown of inherent versus effects. Inherents summon themselves and are conditions. Effects activate to summon and are effects. That's all there is to it. It's really a simple concept, but you just got to be able to break up the two. And just look at examples. If you're looking at a monster and it says, like let's say you go in like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikia and you go and you see like a monster, like let's say you look up Light Pulsar, you'll see that its effect to summon is a summon, and that just means a summon condition. But if you look up and it says Ignition, that's not an inherent special summon. That's an effect to special summon. It's an ignition effect to special summon. Maybe I'll cover monster effects in another video, but this should give you guys a pretty good idea of the difference between the two types of special summons. And that's all. Please just let me know some more ideas for you guys of what kind of topics and videos you'd like to see for this segment. Again, you guys have been really awesome this far with all your feedback about the segment. Please keep up the great ideas and the great suggestions. They help a ton, and it helps me be able to isolate some topics that are more relevant to our viewers. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and keep dueling, America.